Stellar Blade is easily one of the games this year that I'm most looking forward to. I've played the demo multiple times at this point, and I've absolutely enjoyed it each time, feeling as if I'm getting better or just learning something new. The combat is really intricate, surprisingly so, but it's juxtaposed with an aesthetic that I absolutely adore and grew to really appreciate because of my love for Nier Automata. And you see, this is where this conversation gets rather interesting, because the internet has been interneting all over the place, hasn't it? And ever since this game got announced and we've seen even more of it and conversation has sprung up surrounding this game, people always feel the need to try and put one thing down to elevate their thing. Whether it's Nier Automata fans or some of them, trying to put down Stellar Blade, or new Stellar Blade fan trying to put down Nier Automata for whatever reason, this back and forth is intrinsic to a lot of internet discussions when it comes to these games, and I just find it kind of repetitive more than anything, and not really accomplishing anything. And you see, recently, there was an interview done with IGN Japan between the creative director of Stellar Blade, Hyung-tae Kim, and Yoko Taro, the guy in the funny mask behind Nier Automata and Nier and Drakengard 1 and 3 we don't talk about 2. And I've read some choice quotes and kind of skimmed the interview overall, and what I don't really want to talk about is anything specific from the interview, but the overall vibe. Yoko Taro loves Stellar Blade, and Hyung-tae Kim loves Nier Automata. And there's clear inspiration here, and even Yoko Taro's like, yeah, Nier Automata is pretty much a retelling of Neon Genesis Evangelion. And there's nothing wrong with that in my opinion. One of the things that got me interested in Stellar Blade to begin with was its clear inspirations from Nier Automata, because Nier Automata is my favorite game of all time. I love it to death, and I've played it and watched it multiple times. It never gets old for me, and it's one of those games where every time I go back to play it again, I get lost in the world and the characters and the story that is unraveling, and I find something new to appreciate about it. In Stellar Blade, we just simply don't know how it's going to, well, hang with the boys. It's not out yet. Yoko Taro said he actually enjoyed it more than Nier Automata, which, if it's even better than Nier Automata, I'm in for a treat, aren't I? But it just kind of felt like both of them just showing a genuine appreciation for each other's work. And it's a good reminder that at the end of the day, these are just both video games. They exist to entertain and to engage the product to engage with the consumer. From the demo of Stellar Blade, I've been absolutely enthralled with it. The combat is so fun and interesting, and I love the parry system, the customization, the progression system. The game is gorgeous, not just the characters. And it seems like a world that is genuinely interesting, but I also just kind of have a soft spot for this like post-apocalyptic Earth landscape where we play as people that kind of feel removed from humanity, just sifting through the ruins, learning what life used to be like. When it comes to a lot of internet discourse, it's so easy to just get caught up in the console wars, sports debate-esque conversation that can arise. My game is better than your game, my plastic box is better than your plastic box. At the end of the day, they're both just great games, ideally. There is that disclaimer where we just have to wait for Stellar Blade to come out, but from everything I've seen and actually played of it from the demo, I don't have any cause for alarm or concern, really. I highly doubt it's gonna live up to my love and adoration for Nier Automata, but that's an unrealistic expectation to put on any game. Going into it like, oh, you better overcome and be better than my favorite game of all time. Like, that's just like putting yourself in a position not to enjoy a game. And I'd rather put myself in a position to enjoy a game rather than not enjoy it just so I can win some like weird internet argument that maybe 3 people with a hashtag actually care about. They both look great, and they both look like they're gonna do their own separate things. There's a lot of clear inspiration from Stellar Blade in terms of Sekiro, in my opinion, especially when it comes to the combat. And I think the things I'll enjoy the most out of Stellar Blade is where it deviates from that inspiration from the Automata and just tries to set out and do its own thing. The overall themes and messaging of Stellar Blade seem genuinely impressive and interesting from the trailers. And there's so many cool directions that it can go. I love these stories where there's more beneath the surface that can be where you can just be in for a mind-melty adventure. I love these kinds of narratives that make me think, while still being enjoyable surface level. But the more and more you peel away at that surface level and peer beneath the depths, the more you can grow to appreciate the product. I love stuff like that. That's like Nier Automata in a nutshell. To where if you just go into it on a surface level approach, and you just play the game and enjoy the characters and be like, two-piece butt. And you're like, oh cool, existential horror. What does it mean to be alive? Now I have depression. The common things a Nier Automata fan probably will have at some point in time. You can still really enjoy Nier Automata, then you delve into the surface, delve under it, scuba masks on. What makes this story work? What about the foreshadowing? What about these little details that are all scattered around that add up, peering beneath the surface? What about the novels? What about the stage plays? What about Nier Replicant? Oh, hi Emil. All these little things that add up with one another to create a whole grid in the sum of its parts. And every time you go back to Nier Automata, you may find something new about it to appreciate, or that recontextualizes something to make you appreciate the product overall even more than you did before. That's what happens with me. And I love that kind of stuff. Chances are, if you're one of my favorite games of all time, I'll have that approach with it. I think it's kind of like a derivative of morning sports talk debate shows, where they just have a conversation about who's the GOAT, who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James, or some new guy who's played 5 games of the NBA. Like, realistically, what are we accomplishing here? Does everything need to boil down to a competition or a GOAT debate, whereas we can just appreciate these games for what they are? I think an image I saw on Twitter about this whole conversation rings so true. It's just a guy sitting at a table, a really simple cake on his right, and then what looks like a wedding cake to his left, and instead of going, oh, this cake is way better than this other cake, he just goes, oh cool, 2 cakes. Sometimes it's okay to just enjoy a thing, right? And I think in the modern games industry, where we are so often predisposed to look at things with a critical or cynical eye because of the business practices many other games and studios and publishers incorporate into their games, we can lose sight of what it means to just simply have fun with a game or be engaged with a product. I'm really looking forward to Stellar Blade as a Nier Automata fan, and these constant debates can wage on. It's not just between Nier Automata and Stellar Blade. You can find this kind of conversation surrounding pretty much any other game or any other big release or whatever. That just boil down to people trying to make it a competition between two things where a competition does not need to exist to begin with. This happens all the time in Final Fantasy. Like, Final Fantasy 16 just comes out, oh, but it's not better than 6 though, but it's not better than 7 though, it's not better than 9 though, etc, etc, etc. It's just like, can we appreciate what's here? Like, let's critique things, absolutely. I love game critique, and I love that whole conversation that can surround it. But at the end of the day, we all have personal preferences, and the ways that these stories and these games will affect each one of us will vary extremely based on the individual and when we play these games in our lives, and etc, etc, etc. Some people may look at Stellar Blade and go, oh, the combat's a rip-off of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Which game is better? I mean, okay, we can debate about the intricacies about how the mechanisms of the combat are implemented and whatnot, but just because it's clearly designed by Sekiro doesn't mean it's a bad thing, and just because the world and the character design and all that is clearly inspired by Nier Automata doesn't make it some kind of like Michael Jordan versus LeBron James GOAT conversation debate. We can have those conversations because they're fun sometimes, right? But I think it's important to every now and then just ground ourselves and realize, oh cool, 2 cakes. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Leave a comment down below with if you've played the demo for Stellar Blade, and how did you enjoy it? And if you've played Nier Automata, how did you enjoy it? And if you played neither, let me know what your thoughts are, or your reasoning for not playing it, or if you want to play it at some point, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and to hear your stories. Let's appreciate some good freaking games. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody, until we meet again.